Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. There are some new people here. So for those of you who are new here, hello, welcome. And if you ever want to find me on the internet and you're like, how do I find her? I don't remember her name. You can find me over here in my corner of the internet by searching Casher to You. And I'll put it right here so that you all can see. And also, because there are some new people over here, I want to say this at the top of the video. This video is going to be about 2 books that I have read and that I am reading that are shaping and solidifying why I do what I do as a stay-at-home mom. It is solidifying why I parent my children the way that I parent them. And it is solidifying why I show up, or how I show up, I should say, as a mom. So if you're interested in any of those 3 things, you want to keep watching this video. And I want to say this here. I think it's very imperative, and I've never said this in any other video, and so this will be my first time, and I think I'm going to say it maybe like 2 or 3 more times so y'all can get used to it. This is the internet, and there are several people who come through and stop by and visit my page, are watching me. There's about 90% of you all who are not subscribed to my channel. That is okay. However, I bring that up because if you ever stop by and you watch a video, I want you to know the perspective or the lenses that I am speaking from. And some of you all know, because I said in my little description thing, that I am talking about creativity. I'm also talking about motherhood, and I'm also talking about books over here. However, the other thing I want to say is that I'm also, as you can see, there are some obvious things that you will see the narrative or the perspective that I'm speaking from. I am a Black woman. So some of my thoughts, ideas, ideologies are going to come from that lived experience of 30 plus years of being a Black woman. I've never been anything else. That is important. The other thing I want to say is that I'm also a believer in Jesus. If that is important to you, then there's that for you. If that is something that you're like, I don't know about that, then I just want to give you this at this part in my journey. I'm going to say it a couple of more times in other videos, just because I am a person who likes to know a little bit beyond the surface of who it is I'm taking information from on the internet. And because mindfulness is one of my top values, I want to be mindful, but I also want to be very intentional, because that is something that I value as well, and tell you who you're listening to. I also am a mother of 2 children. I'm also a wife to 1 man and only been married once. I think that may be it, but like I said, I'm saying this. I've never done this. I've never said this like exclusively in this way. I kind of hint towards stuff, but I want to be very like, what do you call it? Like, hey, this is who I am type energy. Just because I am a person that when I view people's videos, sometimes if I'm looking for stuff about computers, I don't care what you believe. I don't think it's important. But when someone is giving you information about different things, I think it's important to just know that this person is coming from this type of lens. So that is that. The 2 books that I want to talk about today are these 2. And Abby Jimenez she wrote this book, y'all. Listen, I know y'all are watching, and I know I'm about to tell y'all about this book, but this part in the video especially is for Abby. And I'm calling her Abby because I feel like we're friends. Like, girl, like, what? Okay, so Abby, if this video ever comes across your timeline or is getting reposted somewhere, I just want to say to you, girl, you wrote this book. There's not a lot of information about who she is on here. I have not looked her up, but I was watching BookTube one day, girl, and somebody suggested one of your books. I want to say the first book I've ever heard people talk about was Just for the Summer. And then I saw that this was a part of the, like, I think it was a part of a video, and it was like several of your books, and they were talking about it. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for writing this book the way that you wrote it, and like how you introduced me to something new. I have a friend who is in nursing school, and some of the terminology I could talk to her about, she can relate to it, and it was a way for me to connect and to bond with her. But the other thing is, this was an easy read of some hard things, but it also was it was an easy read, but it also talked about some very hard things. And it helped me to look at my parenting, to look at the way my relationship with my children, my relationship with my husband. It just helped all around to look at my family unit and what is it that I'm creating for my family. And not just me, but what are me and my husband creating as a family? And this, listen, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There are some things I can relate to in this book, even though I'm a Black woman and the characters are not Black. However, Abby, girl, thank you, because it talks about stuff that people don't talk about candidly in real life. I don't think, I'm not in those circles, I could say. But in the Black I would say this, I do talk about that in my real life with my friends. However, in the Black community, these things are not talked about like this. And I don't think that people understand how their childhood plays into their adulthood. And not plays, but it's a whole, it's the blueprint for your adulthood. Oh my goodness, I have so much to say. So Abby, if you ever hear this, thank you, thank you, thank you. So everyone, that's a little bit of review of the book. Like, I really enjoyed it. I'm not even done. We have about 10 pages left of this, but listen, this was a great read, a great book that showed me my role as a parent is very important. We call our family the Casher Fam 4. The 4 of us, how we connect or don't connect matters. How we talk to each other or don't talk to each other matters. How I am a mother and motherly to my son and motherly to my daughter matters. And it's going to shape my children's life for the rest of their lives. And I want my children to connect in a healthy way. Some of this stuff that one of the characters is experienced in this book, I don't want my children to connect to someone because I was not healthy as a mom, which is why I do my internal work, which is why I talk to Jesus, which is why I write in a journal, which is why I have a therapist for me and a therapist for my marriage, which is why I have community, because I cannot see all sides of myself. And I wish that I don't know how it's going to end, but one of the girls in this book, what's her name? Alexis, she suggests to her boyfriend as a lie to her dad to go to, and this is not a spoiler, I don't think, to lie to her dad and say that he was in therapy. He really went to the therapy sessions and he ends up being very grateful for the therapy. And I had that same experience. The guy that I was in a really, really like messed up relationship with, he told me I needed to see somebody because what I was going through, he could not help me with. And I am grateful. What was that? Almost 10 years ago now, I went to my first therapy session. And I'm grateful now because I've been in therapy on and off for 10 years now. And I've been in therapy now for 5 years consecutively. And so it's like, wow, like the therapy aspect of this, the way that she talked about being a doctor, the way that she talked about family, the way that she, like, her words were easy to read, the friendship between Alexis and Bree, the friendships or the lack of friendship that she had with the other two young ladies, the small town. I love that. I grew up in a small town, and so I related to some of that. The parenting just really struck home for me and helped me to see that my parenting matters. How I treat my children matters. Like, I already knew this, but it really solidified for me how important it is to parent my children from a healthy place and just become even more self-aware than I already am, so that I can parent them well, and that my children will have amazing and thoughtful people in their lives as a result of me being amazing and thoughtful, and as a result of their father being amazing and thoughtful, as a result of us connecting to great, healthy, thoughtful people. There are things that are talked about in this book that show, like, when she puts names on stuff, like the whole book, you're seeing this person be this particular way, and you're seeing this person, let me see if it tells you. I'm just going to read you the back of the book. After a wild bet, gourmet grilled cheese sandwich, and a cuddle with a baby goat, Alexis Montgomery has had her world turned upside down. The cause: Daniel Grant, a ridiculously hot carpenter who's 10 years younger than her and as casual as they come. The complete opposite of sophisticated city girl Alexis. And yet their chemistry is undeniable. While her ultra wealthy parents want to carry on the family legacy of world-renowned surgeons, Alexis doesn't need glory or fame. She's fine with being a mere ER doctor. And every minute she spends with Daniel in the tight-knit town where he lives, she's discovering just what's really important. Yet letting their relationship become anything more than a short-term fling would mean turning her back on her family and giving up the opportunity to help thousands of people. Bringing Daniel into her world is impossible, and yet she can't just give up the joy she's found with him either. With so many differences between them, how can Alexis possibly choose between her world and his? Like, parenting, the big thing for me that stood out is that parenting in this book, like she has decisions to make about her life. Wealthy family. And it goes to show you that wealth, it means something. However, it was no amount of money that she could have had to help her to restore her childhood and to change her parents and to show up in a different way. And the thing is, like, I forgot about the age difference, because I think at any age these things happen, and it doesn't, to me, people get to live their life. If you like to have a 10-year difference between you and your partner, that's your business. But I think that if that storyline fades to me until they bring it up, because there's other things that are happening that are more important than the age gap that is happening. There is some sexual stuff in here as well that fades as well to me, because what the other things that are happening are like front and center, like I did with the other book, like homegirl, like woo, you got to see somebody. This book is going to be one of the books that I'm saying, hey, read this book to family, to friends, to coworkers. When I have coworkers or what, like everybody, you get like Oprah, you get a book. Like, this is a great book. I cannot wait till we and finish just for the summer. I cannot, like, as you can tell, I have on my summery shirt because I am savoring every ounce millisecond of summer, because I live in Florida. So when it comes to the fall, it's going to be fall, but it's going to be just a light, warmer summer still here. So I'm savoring all of it. So I'm going to end my summer with Just for the Summer. This book, it is a must read. It's great. And I want to know, Abby, what is your secret? Like, I don't know if it's a secret of, I just hope she has a beautiful family. I hope Abby has beautiful friends that love her. I hope that her life is just, like, she just gets all the goodness that's coming to her, because my goodness, she really did this really well. That is that book. All right, the second book that I want to talk about is called Let's Talk: Changing the Narrative and Seeing My Mother as Human by Dom Skinner. And I know her last name is Johnson now. She's married. This book. So if you have a strained relationship or had a strained relationship with your mom, this book is a book that you need to read. If you are a mother, I think this is a book that you need to read. If you're thinking about being a mother, this is a book that you need to read. If you are a foster parent, if you work with children, if you're a father, I think this is a great book to read. Or if you are a woman who has healed her relationship with her mom and you have a great relationship, I think this will be a good book to read if you have a friend that doesn't have a great relationship with her mom. Like, it's a great book that really helped me to see again how important my parenting is. My daughter, so basically Dom wrote this book, and it's like, I read it and it felt like a diary of a child explaining how she was navigating life and the relationship that she had with her mom, the lack of love that she felt, the lack of her mom seeing her, and how that it was affecting her growing up, the relationships that she had with other family members, and how, I can't say all of it, but I will just say to read it if any of those descriptions that I said before match you. It is very healing. I felt full after reading this. There was a time in the book where I was like, oh my goodness, I do not want to continue reading this because this is very hard to read. However, I understand from a mother's standpoint that a mom who, as a mom now, who has dealt with sexual abuse in her childhood, if I do not heal and I do not see someone and I do not go to see a doctor, a therapist, talk to my friends or connect to good people, then if I don't heal that, I'm gonna take that into my parenting. And for a little while before I became aware of that, I took it into my parenting until I was able to come to the realization that, Sierra, you got to take this to God. Not only take this to God, but you got to take this to a therapist, because these are not things that you can heal yourself. Oh, well, I'll just sit here. Those are not things that I can heal myself. And so if you have been through any type of thoughts about, like, I don't know my mom's story. If you don't know your mom's story, read this book. This book can serve as a way to see her mother's story and just think and see, as the title says, your mom as human. Because before I was a mother, I was a girlfriend. Before I was so many things, but I'm saying before I was my children's mother, I was my husband's girlfriend, and then I became his wife. And so those roles were the roles that I had. And then when we had my first child, my daughter, then it was like, now I'm a mother. And then I was already healing some of my childhood trauma around sexual abuse. However, once I became a mom, that stuff, read the book. That stuff started to come up in my parenting. And it still shows its head occasionally. However, I'm not as triggered. However, I'm aware of the things that will trigger it. And also it reminds me of my relationship with my mom. But it helped me to see my mother as human. My mom had a story. I had already done some work around my motherhood wounds, but I also realized, like, even in that, it helped me to see your mother has a story. And even though you may not know your mom's story, even though you may not know the intricate details of how your parents grew up, knowing that there's a book that can give you a placeholder to show you, like, hey, I may not ever know their story, but to read another person's perspective from their mom's story to show you that our parents were children. They, just like I was a girlfriend and then I was a wife, I was a child, and now I'm growing. I was a young woman, a young adult, an adult, a grown woman. It's like, and then I had children. So those experiences must be talked about. Those experiences, the way that you grew up, all of that stuff matters. It plays a role in how you show up now. When the first book that I read that showed me this was The 4 Agreements. The Book of 4 Agreements really showed me that my childhood impacts my adulthood. And ever since then, I was on a search to find out what were those things that were impacting me. And I want to say the question from that book was, when was the first time I experienced pain? And when that question came up, I was like, oh my holy God. It is time for me to sit down in somebody's chair. It is like, I didn't do it immediately. However, I did sit down eventually, because I had already had my first therapy session when I was like 22. I had my first therapy session. And then by 24, 25, I was having another one, okay? And that, I would say 24, 25, because that's when I got married. 25. So about 28, I had my next therapy session, I would say. So listen, I'm not talking about something I don't know about, but I will say that if you listen, read it. I did have to put it down and take care of myself, because there were some things that was reminding me of childhood that I was like, girl, this stuff is very close to home. However, I would say read it. If you need to put it down to take care of yourself, do so. But this book is a life-changing book. I listen. And I will say the resolve in the book is that her and her mom were able to come to a very cordial place. And so if you're like, is there any hope in there? Yes, there is hope in this book, okay? And thank you so much for watching this video. I am so grateful that you are here. I have another video that I'm about to shoot. So if you see me in this same t-shirt, in the same shirt, mind your business. because I'm going to record 2 back to back. So I will see you in the next video, and thank you so much for being here. Bye.